Hey y'all, Noons here. Welcome back to Noons Airborne RC. If it's your first time here, smash that like and subscribe button so you can get notified for future content. And if you're a longtime viewer and subscriber, welcome back. Well, it's build day part 2. We're going to go ahead and take care of that rudder servo. So let's get to it. Before that, roll that intro.
Get some!
And we're back. So without to it, let's get started. Let's grab the stuff we're going to need to complete this mission. We got to remove our servo plate off of the plane. All right, we're back. So we got our little hatch assembly for the rudder that we got off the plane. We have our servo and this screw right here, everybody. That screw right there is 2.5 millimeters in diameter and 13 millimeters in length. Now these are the screws that comes with the kit. You got these big bad boys, which I'm thinking is for the gear. And by the way, guys, this jet did not come with any instructions. You got these little guys right here. And then you got a big bag of this right here. And this is what you're going to need. And for the rudder servo, we're going to need 6 of these screws. I also have my X-Acto knife right there. I got my pin vise with my drill. And I got the CA. So let's get started. Alright y'all, we're back. So we have our hatch for our rudder. So the first thing is on the outside of the hatch, there's 2 holes. Those 6 screws that you're going to need, you're going to throw 1 screw in here and 1 screw in there. Now I did dip my CA in there and I threw those screws, and that basically holds the block in to ensure. Now these things are glued, so I did screw them in, and I will be putting epoxy around here just to shore it up. So let's get to the next part. Alright, so after we put in those 2 screws on the face, we have 4 here left. Now these 4 are used to attach this hatch to the actual plane. So we'll go ahead and set those off to the side. We won't need that right now. We're going to need our servo for this next part. So let's go ahead and get that servo out. Got the bag of goodies. And we got our Torque CL 1208. All right. Now let's see if this bad boy fits. Check this out. You guys see that? Look how snug that is. Got a little bit of play, but we can go ahead and adjust that out in the middle. That thing's almost a perfect fit. And the height of the head, look at that. Alright. So if y'all paid attention to the first build video, you would see how I go ahead and I set my holes while I put in that servo. So this is basically going to be the same thing. We're going to go ahead and dress this servo up. We're going to go ahead and put our soft mounts in there. And 4. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my servo. And as you guys can see, the little window's more to one side. So that's the side you're going to go ahead and have your housing at. So now that I got this in here, I'm going to go ahead, and I did have a little play in there. I know this is a 1 millimeter drill. Less than a millimeter of play. So I'm going to go ahead, and what I like to do is I like to center it out. And I'll take my pinwheel vise and I'll go ahead and start my hole, a pilot hole for the screws. So let's go ahead and get that done right now. Alright, now we got our 4 holes. We're going to take the 4 screws that came with our servo and we're going to go ahead and screw them into each hole. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and need my Phillips bit and a screw, and we're going to go ahead and screw each hole on down and get it in there nice and worked down. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. We got our 4 holes and we have them threaded with our screw. The next thing I like to do is I like to get some thin CA, and I like to shore up the holes and make them nice and strong, so that way when I put the servo on there, it has something to bite on there. It's just not stripped wood. And that's how I get it done. So we're going to go ahead and let this dry for a little bit, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back, everybody. Here's a close-up look. There's our 4 holes drilled and tapped with the screw and with thin CA. We have these 2 holes in the front with thin CA and the screws. But as you can see, doesn't look like there's a lot of glue. These were on there really good. Now the screw going through, it's on there. But we're going to go ahead and throw a bead of some clear epoxy all the way around just to make sure these things stay. I want as much surface tension in there. I don't want this to shear off and break. I'm reinforcing everything that I possibly can. But another thing to note is if you see where this screw is at to where those holes, it is a close proximity, but I was able to get them through with no problem. So I like to use JB Clear Weld. This will be the last time use for this syringe right here. So we'll just go ahead and dump out the contents. Probably more than what we're going to need. And you did your country a great surface. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and just mix up the epoxy. Okay. And we don't want to throw it on too thick on the inside where the servo will have a problem sitting. So these right here are these 2mm, they call it makeup remover. They're like these really thin cotton swabs. They're used to remove makeup and stuff, but they work great for doing gluing. I picked them up on Amazon. There we go. Just a little bit. Throw some out here. More right here across the bottom. Now these things are not going to go nowhere. Just that little bit of added security. And that's it. So we're going to go ahead and let this dry. This is a 5-minute epoxy. I like to let it sit for an hour. We'll come back, we'll install the servo, we'll get it as close to 0 as possible before having to do any sub trims way down later in the videos. We'll be right back. Alright, we're back. The glue's dried. Now we're going to go ahead and set the servo in place. We're going to go ahead and align the arm and get it ready to go ahead and install in the fuselage. Let's get to it. Alright, so we got our piece, we got our servo. We're going to go ahead and take our servo and drop it right in there. Nice perfect fit. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to use the screws right here that came with the servo. The servo also comes with 3 set of arms, 2 plastic and 1 metal. The metal one is the one that I'm going to go ahead and be using, and we have the horn screw right there. And also another thing with these torque servo arms is there's also another screw right here. So after you screw this bad boy, you screw this one. It gives you that little added sense of security. We got some Loctite, and we're going to get some denatured alcohol to clean off these screws. But let's go ahead and get this thing screwed down. So I'm going to go ahead and use this right here. Alright, and we're doing the last screw right now. Just getting her down to the touch, and just a little bit more. Now we got our servo in place. So we got our servo tester, and we have our battery. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing connected in. And we're moving the servo around. Go ahead and give her a click. And we know we're at 0 right now. So we're going to take our arm and we're going to get in here. We're going to see what is the best location to try and get it as close to 90 degrees as we possibly can. That's all we're doing here. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and take out this screw. And I'm going to drop it in here. And we'll be right back. I'm going to get some denatured alcohol. Okay, we're back. We got our 2 screws in here. The screw that holds down the arm and the one that clamps. I use denatured alcohol to go ahead and clean off any grease or oils on a screw. So when I use the Loctite, I know I get a good strong hold. So now all we're doing is we're trying to see which position this is going to go in, because we're trying to get as close to 90 as we possibly can. And you know, you're always 1 tooth off, right? That's as close as we're going to go ahead and get it right there without doing some sub trim. So it's either a little far to the back or a little far to the front. There is no leeway. These servos right here, they have the same spline as Futaba. So we're going to go ahead and, since this is to the front, we won't need that much to the front. We're going to need less to the back. So we'll go ahead and set it right here like that. Push it down, get it all nice and seated. We're going to go ahead and get our screws, and we're going to go ahead and clean them off. Right there. The rest of the denatured alcohol will go ahead and evaporate. And I got some blue Loctite right here. All right. And the first screw we're going to go ahead and put is our head screw. So we're going to take, actually, what I like to do is I like to use a Q-tip. I like to get the Loctite inside the hole. And then put in the screw. I like to do it this way because if I get it on the screw, it acts like a squeegee when it goes in the threads. And at least over here, I know I'm going to go ahead and get it all in the hole. We're going to go ahead and take this, and we're going to go and put some Loctite on the back side of that hole. And get this one in. And we're going to go ahead and tighten this one down. Pushing down, making sure I'm all the way down. All right. Give a little snug over there. And now we're going to go ahead and clamp it around first. And there she is. Go ahead and click that. And you can see I have a little binding right there, but we'll go ahead and dress that. I'm not going to be using that much rudder. And we have it in. Well, y'all, that's pretty much how I go ahead and I set this in. Don't that look all nice and pretty? And the spacing, didn't have to go ahead and adjust nothing. Servo is a drop-in fit. Now stay tuned for part 3. Part 3 is getting the whole empennage together. That's the lovely word, empennage. We're going to go ahead and set this into the fuselage, or 2 elevators, and we're going to run our wire runs all the way to the front. So stay tuned. But before you go, do all the things. Please comment, like, subscribe, and share this video. Noon's out.
Get some!